what entails and.
I mean, you don't get lost in the midst of tech bros type thing.
Yeah, I can't get lost in the midst of tech bros. Like if I tell you the beginning stage of going into tech, it's like when people are talking about onboarding, and I'm like,
yeah,
how do you mean?
How did you do your onboarding?
My onboarding process, first, I would say it's not easy. You can actually just get lost, and I would say I got lost.
Tell me about it.
Because it felt like I came into this and it just looked simple. It felt like, is this now? This is a graphic design screen. I can make it work.
Canva Pro Max.
I feel like that though. I just saw myself. I was like, for like 3 months, I started. For like 3 months, I just stopped. And I started looking at my architecture drawing board again. I was like, no.
Were you learning on your own, or did you go to a school to learn it?
I was learning on my own.
Oh.
You get YouTube. I mean, kudos YouTube. Like YouTube, like they give, people that drop their resources and content there, premium, honestly. Because as much as we go to school, like we go for further education, YouTube does an amazing job.
No doubt.
Every question in the book is there, and then you have the communities. You understand? And following your community, you can always ask them questions.
Yeah.
But I didn't know this.
You're just vibes.
I was just vibes and inshallah. I was like, Avego.
Blame them. Have you seen the tech bros in this country?
Well, if you keep looking at where people have gotten to, because most people some people don't tell you like where they started.
We don't know the journey.
So when you look at where they have gotten, you think it's like a 2-day thing. Like, it just needs for you to learn this. But before you find the gig, before you build your portfolio, all that, and it's not what I can say is not a 1-day thing.
Yeah.
It sometimes not even a 1-year thing. You just have to keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. Even if the gigs are not coming up, it's like taking personal projects. There are a lot of startups these days, and startups need some certain features. You can volunteer. It helps build portfolio, and once you build portfolio, you have gigs.
I think one of the key things is also not beating yourself up, right?
Yeah.
Because I know for me, one of the challenges I've had and I'm still having is especially with transitioning, is sometimes I self-doubt myself, if that makes sense. Like in my head, I'm like, am I doing the right thing? Especially because I'm also coming from a media background.
Yeah.
And in a media background, it's pretty structured, but in the tech space, it's quite fluid. So in my head, I'm like, am I doing the right thing? Would they see me as, lazy, or would they see me as hardworking? Is there an in-between point? When do I don't want to overdo certain things and I don't want to underdo certain things. So how do I go about it? But this is a conversation I have with myself, and not that it's. And then coming from a place where things are more structured, you expect that, something should be more structured here, but then it feels like the culture is very fluid, and you're like, what is wrong with you people? Can't you people have like a plan, to-do list? Can we, schedule things? But so for me, I'm still having that culture shock. It's actually something that would happen to everybody. If you're transitioning careers, you would experience culture shock, especially because you've moved from a place where things are maybe more detailed or structured, or, you follow a principle and you see it work, to a space where they're not about the principle, but they're about results. But moving into that space, there'll be that part of your brain that says, no, it's not working. But I feel like there was a time, I think it was in the last episode, when you said that it always used to work itself out somehow, where your knowledge of architecture actually helped your. So I think that at the end of the day, you just give yourself time, stuff like that. But before we keep talking, like we said last week, we've been having the Research for Impact events at the Hub, and the Hub is still busy today because we have more people in the Hub. And Now we'll take you on a little highlight of what's been happening over the week, and we'll be back.
I would say practical.
A practical experience.
Quite engaging.
Different.
It's been educative for me.
Ultimate experience.
The entire experience is good.
It's been marvelous.
It's phenomenal, awesome, and we look forward to having more of this session.
Never left. We're back again. We hope you actually enjoyed the highlights from the research for impact that we've been having. And like I said, we're still having the research for impact as we speak. And we hope to actually show you more highlights moving on from now. And back to our conversation on transitioning careers. Don't mind us. We actually had a little disruption, but we keep going.
We just have to keep
it's also part of the transition in Jigget.
Like, I don't think they expected us to be here.
No, they never expected.
Regardless.
We took over.
Anyway, so yeah, like she said, we'll be talking about the challenges. I can say personally, okay, let me just do a little roadmap so that it's a bit clear. When I finished secondary school, I wanted to just, that time, technical drawing, all that. I was like,
You did technical drawing?
I did technical drawing. I was like, architecture just seems right. I mean, it just felt right.
Yeah.
And so I started to buy into it. And then I got into year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, I finished. And in my mind, I was like, is that all? And then I was like, do I really want to really go into architecture like that?
Oh, wow.
Or do I want to pick a sector in it and just focus on my energy? Because I believe in specializing, you get. And so I was like, okay, let me do furniture design, you understand? I really love interior spaces and how to maximize spaces. And so I was like, okay, seems okay. I came out. Enter workforce. I looked around. I was like, it will take time before I make this money to actually start up my own furniture company. Name not lie.
Oh, so the goal was to start up your furniture
company.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, let me just start working first. You understand? Started working as an architect for some company. And then I was like, well, it's time to move to Abuja because I was in Port Harcourt.
Oh, okay.
And Port Harcourt, I smelled no shade to Port Harcourt people. I'm still a PH girl.
You're still about to shade them and you're saying no shade, but it's okay.
It's just that Port Harcourt doesn't have so much opportunities. There's a certain amount of population in Port Harcourt. So it's like the opportunities are already kind of like full. And you know how people are, once they get into position, it's very hard to extract them.
Yeah.
You understand? So I was like, Abuja is looking nice. Let me move over to the street. And I came to Abuja, you know, found myself accommodation, got to Innovate Hub, you get, and we've been working, pushing up the ladder, and then UI UX. Like I saw it and I was like, okay, I'm a product designer and an architect here, but product design entails a lot. And I saw UI UX, I was like, I already know graphic design. I will just blend writing, you know, what's there? What's there?
Canva Pro Max.
I'm telling you. And I started, they say Figma. I said, okay, Figma. I looked at it, I was like, this thing doesn't look hard. I mean, rectangle, pen tool, what's all that? It's not like that though.
They gave you buzz.
It's not like that though. I left Figma, I came out, I was like, what a shock.
Figma figged you.
Oh
you
my
were
God.
figged.
I was like, it's not bad, but I mean, then I found myself realizing that there was more to just starting. The research part was so important. I had to find myself going deep into research. And then after research, you know, you now start the design process. And there's so many design themes, so many design styles, and you start trying to fit in your own style. Like what works for you, what is it for you to pick up, how to go about it. Oh my God. I started, but you'll get to a point where you would start doubting yourself, like you said. You start feeling like, not better to do what I studied. Then my mother not say I wasted her school fees. And then I'll come out, I'll put one, it was like one leg in, one leg out.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't entirely sure. And then at some point I was like, well, I have to do this at some point. If I'm really serious about it, I have to take it seriously. So of course my first job offer, and I picked it up and I started. And the truth about it is that once you start, you get a hang of it.
Yeah.
You just keep doing. At some point, you look back and you know that you're not where you used to be. And that's the goal, I mean. To always look back and be like, thank God, you know, I'm not where I used to be. And always being able to count your blessings, I mean, it's one of the... But then, are there struggles? There are struggles. You get lost. You get lost, but you find yourself.
I know one of the challenges I also had before we actually round up is that nobody is saying anything to anybody. So you have to actually learn to figure it out by yourself, do you get? And you have to learn, so just like you actually learned on YouTube, you have to learn a lot of things by yourself, especially if you didn't go to school to study maybe computer science or anything of that sort. You have to literally learn it yourself. And it's actually okay, it's just human for you to actually learn it yourself. So let's move to, since we're rounding up, like tips for people who are actually transitioning careers.
First, you have to ask yourself, I mean, are you ready to transition?
Good question.
Are you ready to transition?
Because it go choke. It will hook you.
If it's breathe. Because true to God, I mean, like, it's like, if you're not sure, like, it's like, why do it? For me, it's like, you have to wake up every day and want to do this. And even if you have doubts, it's like, nobody's going to push you. You have to push yourself.
You have to push yourself.
You just have to push yourself. So you have to ask that question, is this what you want? Yeah, not because you're following. Of course, people follow the trend, but is this really what you want?
Yeah, another thing is actually thinking about if it's what you want to go into. You also need to think about what transferable skills you have. So like in your case, and in my case, where you had transferable skills from architecture into UI UX, where you could actually plan and be more detailed with whatever you're creating. And for me, it was just from the media space where I was more of being structured in and aligning things, putting things in order. You also need to have those transferable skills. I don't know, networking, I don't know what they call, but skills that you can actually move it from one industry to another industry. Really.
Yeah. For example, like I left in architecture, they teach you graphic design,
right?
But not the way graphic design is. You understand? They teach you graphics design, and then I now elaborated more on it. Like I like things together from that, and then now carry the graphic designs can now put inside the UI. So it was like a compilation of so much transferable skills.
Yeah, I think another thing we need to have is like emotional support. You need to have people around you that are also doing the same thing, or people around you that are, you guys are hustling it out together and supporting each other, or even if it's just people who don't understand what you're doing, but people who actually believe that, you know, you actually might have, you know, something coming out of this, so they support you in doing that.
Yeah, people downplay the use of mentors.
Have
having
mentors.
Someone you look up to
Have
in
mentors.
the field.
Have mentors.
It is underrated. Like, we need to have someone you look up to
Absolutely.
in this industry.
I think finally, do you have like a final?
Yeah, like, of course you need to know why you're doing this, but it can't just be all about money.
Yeah.
You understand? Yes, money will, treat some of your lifestyle, but there's more to life than just money. You get?
Yeah.
And if you have to, like I said earlier, you have to wake up every morning and want to be able to do it. Not because there's no gig on table, you're not going to try your hands on something new. Stuff like that.
Absolutely. Always know your why. And above all, remember that it's going to cost you something. It will cost you YouTube subscriptions. It will cost you taking courses. It will cost you some level of investment, but be ready to count the cost, because nothing comes for free, right? And on that note, we come to the end of today's episode, and we hope to see you next week again. And remember that you can actually follow us on socials: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram,
Hit that
YouTube.
subscribe button.
Like it, share it, rate it. We're here for it. Did I just give punchline? All right, bye.
Bye.